100%.
Okay, so let's go by role or by offensive defensive flow. So let's say if we're going to take offensive neutral zone first. So if we have the puck and we're coming out of our defensive zone, going through the neutral zone, talk a little bit about philosophy on what we're trying to do on our way through the neutral zone, attacking the other end.
Okay, so I'm just going to do a neutral zone philosophy is when you're coming through on offensively, what you would like to do, your objective would be to gain the middle of the ice. At least the dots in. So you want to, if you're skating, you want to get that puck moved, if you can, if there's an option, to at least inside this dot. If you're defending, your goal is to keep this guy outside the dot. Does that make sense so far? Yeah. So from an offensive, the reason is if you get to the middle of the ice, you have more options, right? Moving the puck laterally, deep, whatever. And if you're defending, you take away options because it's harder to make plays if you put them outside the house.
Yeah.
Right.
So sorry, this goes, if you guys didn't watch the D episode, this is exactly what we talked about. On the flip side with the D, we always say the dot lines are your guides. You're trying to keep guys outside the dots because if they're along the wall, they only have one choice now. They can only come to them towards you. That's their only option. And the flip side on the offensive side. So that's a great way you can think about it, because you've mentioned this before too, how you're trying to think of what is the other team trying to do. So on the defensive side, if you guys know this from what we've taught in the last episode or even episodes before, it's the D are always trying to push you outside the dots. So as the offensive team, we're trying to get in the dots.
Yeah, an offensive guy wants to go here.
Yeah, right.
So that's offense wants here, D wants you to go here. Right? So yeah, so from the neutral zone, it's just really rule number one is if you're coming out as a winger or as a centerman, this area here, that 5 foot line roughly, like width wise, I mean, is you don't want to play around with the puck too much. You either want to move it, skate it, or chip it out to a safe area. If this is the neutral zone where turnovers start, if you give up a puck in this area, then that could be in the back of your net quick. So that's like rule number one.
So this might be like an obvious question, but why is that the area that everyone is so like caught up about? Why that 5 foot area, both blue lines? Why is that always said like we don't want to turn pucks over here? Why is this the bad spot? I know it's turnovers, but I could turn the puck over at the red line. Why is it worse to turn it over at
just because you turn over here and you're defending again.
Yeah, so it's kind of like
or if you don't turn it, if you're offensive and you turn it out, now you're back checking. So it's like about gaining a zone.
Yeah, because the way I think about it is guys are starting to hit the gas this way. And if there's a quick move back the other way now guys are caught because they thought we were going this way and now we're not. Whereas in the red line, guys are still kind of thinking both ways. But blue line, that's where you're going to catch guys. Maybe a D was trying to jump up and now there's a quick turnover and now we're stuck or something like that. So that's why it's always harped on those blue lines as not being turnover areas.
Yeah, 100%. So that's number one. You want to get it out of your zone. Out is good. The next thing is you want to get it, like if you have a choice, once you get it through the neutral zone, if you could come with speed, that's better. And if you can get the puck, enter the puck inside the dots, even better, because that gives you options for passing, shooting, or whatever. If you don't have an option to carry it in, right, you still want to get the puck, if you can, to the middle of the ice, and then you do like just a kick out so that you have traffic going in there, right? So that's like, really, that's the thing. And like for me, I don't care how it gets out. There's no necessarily, there's not like you need to carry it or pass it or whatever. So whatever options there is your best option. And then there's the other ones would be if you don't have a play, if you're a puck possession team, you might bring it back to your D and do neutral zone regroups, or if there's a turnover regroups. But if you don't have a play, especially at a little bit higher levels, then it's a place to get the D to have to turn around and go chase a puck. So if they're going backwards and you get a puck behind them, then speed from the neutral zone could and should beat the defenseman to pucks, which allows pressure. So that's the importance of gaining the neutral zone, owning the neutral zone in the offensive fashion is important.
Okay, so if I'm That's kind of like the puck carrier. So puck carrier coming in, you're trying to get towards the middle of the ice. You have options either way. So if I'm assuming that's a forward carrying the puck, if I'm the other guys without the puck, what is the mindset with the two guys not carrying the puck coming through the neutral zone?
So now this will always depend on your coach and what they want to do. But if like basically you want to get to the middle of the ice, but if you want to support the puck and give, so let's just say it's coming straight up the middle of the ice, and this is the center. Keep it simple. Your job is
So sorry, center guy has the puck.
center guy. Your
Yeah.
centerman has the puck. So let's say he's more cheating on this side. Well, we could have support, like, so he's forcing a pass, like to create a 2-on-1, right? If you can create 2-on-1s, that's where you can make plays. So if you, let's say this is a 3-on-2 with a winger and a winger, so what you want to do is kind of overload someone to make a 2-on-1 somehow. If you create 2-on-1s, your odds are better, right? So that could be a pass and a pass back. It could be skating it and faking a pass, whatever. But this guy might want to support a puck. So you're just looking at your options and saying, how do I give this guy an option? So that could be like if you're deep in the or just coming out of the neutral zone, it could be the puck coming here as a winger, or even here somewhere in the wing as a winger, and a centerman coming up. He's probably supporting, but it could also be like a winger slashing across. So you have like numbers, right? 3 against 2 now, right? So those are just things that you could be looking at as options. So it's like it's all about, like, in situations like all over the ice, what you're trying to do is outnumber people, right? So if you come through the neutral zone, like you'll see a lot of the times, this is something I teach in when we do 2-on-1s, because 2-on-1s and 2-on-2s drive me nuts in practice. So this is just a numbers thing. It has nothing to do with the neutral zone. If you do a 2-on-2, so you got a D and a D, and you come up the ice and you got a forward and a forward. So many times you just see guys go 1-on-1, and they never work. So what you're trying to do on these is, like, if this guy's a puck carrier, you're trying to maybe get out wide or cut to the middle and have a cut. So this becomes a 2-on-1, right? So that's what you're trying to do in basically every situation. And then on 2-on-1s, just to give people other things in practices, the one thing I have to harp on practices is on a 2-on-1. A lot of times you'll see in practice that they're almost useless, because guys will come in with speed and then they slow down and he slows down and defense doesn't have to work, and they're looking at making plays and everybody stops. And so they make their plays too late usually. But what I tell guys on 2-on-1s, especially in practice, I say, if you have the puck, treat it like you're on a breakaway. So bust your ass to the net to make this guy do something. And if he comes, then you've got that option somehow. And if he stays in the middle, then you're not sitting there going, okay, what should I do? Right? You can create your own offense from that.
Yeah, beautiful.
And that does come from the neutral zone, by the way.
Absolutely. You said exactly what I wanted you to say. That's great.
Oh, really?
My brain
Oh,
was
really?
in the same spot. I was thinking like outnumber people, support, find ways to isolate guys. And then real quick, because I don't want to leave the defenseman out. If our forwards are chugging up and they're doing that thing, they're trying to isolate guys, what is my mindset as a defenseman when now I feel like I'm not in the play? Like, I'm done. I did my job. I moved it up. The forwards are going. So now what am I D thinking through the neutral zone?
Okay, so that's a good question, and it's going to depend on your coaching, and then it's about reading the game, right? So if you're looking at let's say you make an outlet pass here to your center or winger, and you're the D now, and you've got speed, right? And your center's down here or your winger's down here, and you see that you can create with your speed a 2-on-1 or a 3-on-2 by you getting up there. By all means, do it. Because what you have to remember is, like, it's okay to have numbers, and it's okay to have numbers, and you got to know when enough's enough. But, like, it's especially in today's hockey, you see, like, a defenseman's not a defenseman. Usually it's a fourth forward, right? So it's okay for them to jump up in the plays to create offense. And if you're thinking hockey, if the winger or centerman is the last guy out of the zone or the second last guy out of the zone, doesn't mean that he has to play center down here. If he's looking like you're seeing more numbers back checking, then it wouldn't make sense to necessarily jump in the play. Or you got a high guy or something like that. It doesn't make sense to jump in the play. It might mean that you have to slow down and take that last guy, or you become the defenseman until there's a switch. So it doesn't really matter. So a defenseman jumping in the play is encouraged. It just has to be at the right time. So you don't just go there just to go. You have to have a defensive responsibility when you come out. But certainly, if you have speed, get up in the play with guys.
So would you say as a rule of thumb, because I kind of think that this is a good rule of thumb, but maybe you disagree, for both D, if you're not joining the rush, still like get to the blue line, like get up ice to the blue line. Don't just kind of lollygag it where there's a big gap between where the puck is and where you are. Like I still feel like you should be, obviously you're watching to make sure that you can transition on a turnover and be back. I'm not saying like be stupid about it, but I find so many times where if we have a 3-on-2 or even if it's a 3-on-3, that their other teams back checkers, a lot of them don't back check hard. So you have a chance to get to the blue line, even if you're not necessarily joining the rush as a late guy where maybe you have some space, rebounds get kicked out, pucks go up the wall, and you're already in a good spot to keep it in or stay on offense or whatever. So I find it's just like a kind of a bad habit to, move the puck and then just relax.
Yeah, no,
and
100%.
whatever.
When you move a puck, like just for example, I was talking to guys this morning. This is more of a defense, neutral zone, doesn't matter. So let's say I'm going left-handed here, unreal. So